Good. The mic is on. Excellent. All right, perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, crowd in.
All right, everybody.
Come here, Dr. Jim.
Everyone's supposed to like spread out. I can't see everybody.
You gotta crowd in. You gotta crowd in. It will not look that close on TV, I promise. It won't. It won't. It won't. It won't.
I can tell a bit on it. I'm gonna run back and forth. Okay.
They're gonna bring
Let's
in.
have these folks back here over on this end because I can't
Yep,
see.
you gotta crowd in. Everybody crowd
So
in.
if we come back around over here.
Come on in.
Come on in over here. Come on in. Yeah.
Crowd in. Crowd in. Crowd in.
Come on in. There you go.
Good?
All right.
Got everyone? All right, we'll get started here. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today at the County Psych Hospital. You know, the challenge we have of confronting people who are struggling with substance abuse and homelessness is prevalent. It is severe. Today, as a county, we are taking bold action. We are being diligent and looking for new solutions, for new ideas. We are changing how we operate to ensure that we get better outcomes. We are doing more, we are expecting more, and we are continuing a series of actions and steps we've taken over the course of the last year to better tackle the challenges we face, both of mental health, of substance abuse, and of homelessness. Here today at the County Psychiatric Hospital, we know this is a facility that traditionally provides psychiatric care, mental health services for our SMI population, those who have a severe mental illness. We also know that only addressing their mental health issues alone will not provide the comprehensive help and support that many of these individuals need. We've identified about 500 patients a month who come here who suffer from substance use disorder. Many of them are unsheltered. Many of them we see over and over and over again. Even though it's about 500 a month we think have substance use disorder, over the course of a year, about 500 of them are making repeated trips in and out of our psychiatric hospital, with the overwhelming majority of them being unsheltered. And so today we're here to announce we have developed a better way to help provide help and life-changing support to these individuals who show up at our hospital with a substance abuse disorder. For the first time, we will be providing substance abuse services right here at this hospital, embracing the true concept of behavioral health. Behavioral health being the intersection of both mental health and substance abuse issues. Our new Accelerated Connections to Treatment program is a person-centered program to co-locate substance abuse treatment and psychiatric services for the very first time here in our hospital at Rosecrans. This is innovative. No one in San Diego is providing these services in tandem at one location for the Medi-Cal population. But most importantly, it is a better way to provide substance abuse services to hard-to-reach people, many of whom are experiencing chronic homelessness. With here today to discuss our new Accelerated Connections to Treatment program is a number of folks who've been very involved. We have Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Greg Cox, who has been very committed for many years to helping us tackle these issues. My friend, Council Member Dr. Jennifer Campbell, who represents this area and really represents the partnership we're trying to have between the city and the county working together. We have DK Aniwa from the Midway Pacific Highway Community Planning Group, Catherine Nicario, CEO of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Also with us today is Heather Peterson of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Brian Elliott from Councilmember Chris Ward's office. Councilmember Ward serves as the chair of the Regional Task Force on Homelessness and has been a big part of all of our efforts to try and find comprehensive solutions to help the unsheltered. In that vein, I want to mention that not everyone who is homeless is struggling from mental health or substance use disorder, but in the most severe cases, including individuals currently experiencing chronic homelessness, a large number of them are suffering from substance abuse disorder, and it perpetuates a vicious cycle that is really difficult for individuals to accept. As I mentioned earlier, we see 500 patients a month here who have primary substance use disorder. And again, many of these folks we see over and over and over again in the course of the year. Our Accelerated Connections to Treatment will connect a missing link that exists between those who come to our psychiatric hospital, but until now we lacked the capacity to provide these drug treatment services and addiction services. With the Accelerated Connections to Treatment program, we're creating a devoted addiction service with a team of medical professionals, alcohol and other drug treatment counselors, and peer support specialists. Connecting individuals with appropriate treatment will be a more hands-on approach to tackling substance use disorder, and one that will take the unique needs of each individual into account. To make this happen, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, has agreed to work with us and work with patients who will participate in these programs. First, an addiction specialist. Ideally, someone with lived experience will engage with patients with primary or secondary substance use disorder to encourage them while they're here to get help and treatment. They will build relationships, they will earn trust, and they will become their support system throughout the process. Second, we will help them manage their withdrawal on site here at the hospital with the American Society of Addiction Medicine guidelines. Third, we will assess them to determine the most appropriate ongoing care. Fourth, we will take a hands-on approach to navigate care directly from the hospital and connect them to what is next. The addiction specialist will not just give them a pamphlet and an address to go to, they will drive the patients to drug Medi-Cal outpatient and residential services and continue to support them afterwards. Our addiction specialist will become their person to help them get to appointments, connect them to other vital social services, and keep them motivated and supported as they attempt to turn their life around. We're working together with city officials, healthcare providers, social workers, law enforcement to truly create a continuum of care for people who are struggling with these conditions. The Accelerated Connections to Treatment program will begin in May. By creating new avenues of treatment for people with substance use disorder, we hope to break the cycle of chronic homelessness and substance abuse that these individuals are experiencing, and we hope to begin to deliver better outcomes, not just for the Rosecrans area and not just for this geographic footprint, but for the entirety of San Diego and everyone who comes into our facility. And so we're grateful for all the hard work that went into putting this together, and we're grateful to see it moving forward. Our first speaker today, who's a champion of this new program and has been working for many, many, many years on the county in an effort to provide these vital services, and has championed and spearheaded a lot of efforts, is my good friend. He is the chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Please welcome Supervisor Greg Cox.
Well, thank you, Nathan, and again, thank you for your leadership on this issue and so many other things that we're doing at the County of San Diego, and thank you all for being here today to hear this very important announcement, which I think is going to be a great benefit for this community. It's no secret that San Diego, and frankly, really all of California, is struggling with homelessness. Homelessness is obviously a very complex problem, and there really are no easy solutions. But some people become homeless because of the high cost of living in California, or because of sudden or dramatic changes in their health or their lives. And others, frankly, struggle with alcohol and substance abuse issues, which cripple their ability to function and to lead normal lives. And it's that group that this program is aimed at. Too often, people struggling with substance abuse are dropped off or sent to the county psych hospital. They get good treatment here, there's no question about that, but after 24 hours, when they are stable, they're released back into the community, only to struggle again and fall back into the same traps, the same temptations, and then they usually get back to the same place in the streets that they were before. This program will help individuals, and by taking them directly from this hospital to places where they can get outpatient treatment, residential substance abuse services, they're going to see an improvement in their lives. It will engage these patients so that they benefit from more supportive care. We believe this program will help make a dent in the population of street people who need help and have nowhere else to go. Difficult problems require different solutions, and it's this program that offers a new way for helping people of this population of homeless to get the services that they need and that they deserve. I'm particularly proud that we're standing here today with Councilwoman from Dr. Jen Campbell. Our region's homeless crisis is an all-hands-on-deck issue, and we really need the support of our surrounding cities. And certainly the city of San Diego has been a great partner with the county on so many of these issues dealing with the homeless. We have to work together. The county and the city and our neighboring communities, our nonprofits, our veterans organizations, they're all going to be a part of the solution. And it's great to see so many of them here today in support of this effort. Once again, thank you all for being here, and I commend Supervisor Fletcher for his efforts in bringing this issue forward. Thank you.
Next up, we have Councilmember Dr. Jennifer Campbell. And, Dr. Campbell and I have talked a lot about the need for more aggressive help and services in this area. The things that impact her communities that she represents, that we both represent. And she has been a leader and an advocate in pushing to do more to tackle the challenges that the face from homelessness in this area. And so I really appreciate her leadership and her work on this issue. I appreciate her support of this effort, and we're thrilled to have her here. So, Dr. Campbell.
Thank you. Thank you. I've grown. So good afternoon and welcome to District 2. I'm Jennifer Campbell. I am the City Council representative for the City of San Diego for this district. I'm honored to be here with these county leaders, Supervisors Fletcher and Cox, who are working so hard to resolve homelessness. I want to thank them for starting this Common Sense program. As a physician with great interest in resolving homelessness, I look at this problem, this issue, as a health problem. It's unhealthy to live outdoors. Often mental health issues lead to homelessness, and sometimes addiction leads to homelessness, and sometimes those who suffer from severe mental illness self-treat with drugs and alcohol or both and become addicted, and this impedes their ability to overcome homelessness, let alone mental illness. This ACT program, Accelerated Connection to Treatment Program, makes it possible for those with mental health problems plus addiction to have inpatient hospital care to get their body and brain chemistry off the addictive substances safely. Then their mental illness can be treated. Through the recent years, medical science has proven that mental illness, just like physical illness, has a molecular basis. The signal system of the brain is not working properly in mental illness. Treatment works by finding what specific medication each individual patient needs to get their own neurotransmitters or brain chemistry molecules into normal balance. It's often necessary to have inpatient hospital admission to safely make this possible. Another wonderful aspect of this program, and one that's so welcomed in our community, is when the patient is ready for discharge, this program has provided a trained caseworker who has kept track of the patient during their hospitalization, and on discharge will see that they are housed and continue to have mental health care and also to remain clean and sober. Then, if possible, they can pursue a healthy, fulfilling life and take part in our community. So we know that thinking of these problems as health issues, which they are, and approaching these patients as we would any person with a potentially debilitating disease, such as a heart attack, diabetes, lung diseases, or infections. This gives us the compassion and common sense path that we know to take to help them to overcome homelessness and to have a healthy life. Our city is the largest in the county and has the highest number of unsheltered residents. The county has most of the resources, and so collaboration between city and county of San Diego is so necessary, and we welcome it to resolve homelessness. Mental illness and addiction are just some of the problems that result in homelessness, but by providing sustained outreach to the patients who come here, we will be addressing the goals of ending homelessness and improving the safety of our communities. We cannot leave these ill individuals without help. By providing follow-up with our social service providers, we also will be helping the Midway community as well as the whole city, as has been mentioned. Substance abuse and mental illness do not have to lead to a life on the streets. We will support programs such as ACT to ensure that those struggling have the empathy and excellent medical and social service care that they need to get back on their feet. Thank you so much, and thank you to the county. Thank you.
Next up, I want to welcome DK Aniwo. He is a resident of the Midway neighborhood, a member of the Midway Pacific Highway Community Planning Group, to talk about this program and his thoughts on how it will be received by the neighborhood and the businesses in the area. DK.
Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher, and thank you all for being here today. My name is DK Aniwo, and it's interesting. My mother worked in the healthcare industry for 31 years before she retired, and one thing that she taught me my entire life is that charity begins at home, and that you should take care of your community. I joined the Midway Pacific Highway Community Planning Board almost 2 years ago now with that same charitable spirit in mind and serving this community that I call home. One thing that I find fascinating about the intersection between Supervisor Fletcher, between Dr. Jen Campbell, between Greg Cox is the commitment that I've seen to advancing the issues that we have most struggled with here in San Diego. The county is a powerful body entrusted with administering behavioral health services, and it is fantastic to see this county fulfilling its mandate with this pilot program at this facility here in Rosecrans. This facility is uniquely placed in close proximity to both public transit and the intersection of two major freeways, making it easily accessible for all parties to access. Additionally, the Midway District is eagerly anticipating some major new development in the coming years with the Sports Arena and Navwire redevelopment efforts, as well as a potential height limit increase that will enable optimization of the community plan update that my board spent years crafting. I believe the Midway District has a real opportunity to become a vibrant and mixed-use community with something for everyone. And by everyone, I include our most vulnerable populations as well. Now is the time for progress, and I believe now is the time for the leadership that we see here today. I recognize that this new model of linking staff and services to people with substance use disorders comes ahead of anticipated changes in state policy, and I commend Supervisor Fletcher, Chairman Greg Cox, Councilmember Jennifer Campbell, and all those involved in the formation of this program for their vision and their forward-thinking approach to combating one of San Diego's most serious issues. Thank you all again.
Thank you. Next, it's my privilege to introduce my partner, my buddy, Dr. Luke Bergman. We spent a lot of time together. When we take an idea or an issue, we say, what's everything we could possibly do to try and tackle these issues, and we make a list. And then when we settle on one, I invariably say, okay, now I want it done right now, like tomorrow. Let's get it going. And Dr. Bergman has to deal with how you design it and how you staff it and how you make it work. And so I appreciate his patience and his calm demeanor in a impetuous notion of we want to do everything right now. But this program really is something to be really proud of, and it is something that's fundamentally different. It's something we've been working hard on for a number of months to move rapidly, to put together and be at a point where we can launch it in May. And so it feels like we've been talking about this for years, which is not possible because neither one of us has been at the county for years. But we have moved very, very quickly, and I really appreciate Dr. Bergman and his team and all of his work. And so it's my privilege to introduce our Director of Behavioral Health, Dr. Luke Bergman.
Supervisor Cox compelled me to do that. And there will be repeat performances if we want to do one-on-ones later. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here at the inauguration of a really, really significant event that we think will have really positive outcomes for folks with behavioral health conditions and for this community in particular. We're in the midst of a broad transformation of behavioral health care across San Diego County. We're moving the whole system from one defined by perpetual crisis to one defined by continuous care management of psychiatric illness and substance use disorder. The most challenging and important work that we need to do on this front is to erode the many silos in care that currently characterize our system and that are undergirded by systems of payment and regulation. Behavioral health care care for those with mental illness and substance use disorder shouldn't be distinct from care for physical illness, especially when the relationship between them, depression and hypertension, alcohol use disorder, and liver disease, for example, is so well established, in addition to what Dr. Campbell had mentioned before. But even within behavioral health care, long-standing divisions between care for psychiatric illness and substance use disorder persist. Different payment mechanisms, different data collection systems, distinct policy expectations, differently trained workforces even, have made it nearly impossible to offer the kind of whole-person approach that we all know is the right approach. Today, we are resisting these unhealthy distinctions by offering an approach to care that is designed around the needs of those seeking it. And the setting, the San Diego County Psych Hospital, is not accidental. As the county's safety net hospital, the San Diego County Psych Hospital is uniquely positioned to privilege a humane and person-centered approach to care for those with behavioral health conditions. The work that happens here is driven by an against-the-odds determination to make people well and to improve our community. And the staff here, second to none, embody that determination. I'd like now to introduce Dr. Michael Krellstein, who is the clinical director of County Behavioral Health Services and the medical director of this hospital, and whose grace as a clinician is reflected in the initiative that we're presenting today.
Good afternoon. That's a very hard kick step to follow. I'm not going to be trying that, otherwise I might become a patient myself. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the county and city of San Diego for their commitment to this very difficult line of work. The disconnect between treatment for substance use disorders and mental health disorders unfortunately continues, to the detriment of our clients and to the great frustration of those professionals who serve them. And this new initiative is a very large step forward toward integrating care. This model, in its essence, will meet people where they're at, provide immediate withdrawal services, assess and address behavioral health and medical problems, as well as social determinants, and directly connect people to community services which are frequently difficult to obtain without the assistance of a longitudinal care coordinator. This goal, the goal, is to provide opportunities for treatment, continuity of care, and social rehabilitation for each and every person, commensurate with that individual's needs and readiness for change. For the person who has hit rock bottom, for the person who is ambivalent and scared of change, and for everyone in between, we will tailor a treatment plan which first identifies needs, provides immediate treatment and care, and connects people to treatment in the community with an eye always toward necessary social supportive services. The committed healthcare professionals at San Diego County Psychiatric Hospital recognize what is at stake, and in partnership with NAMI and other community providers, we look forward to playing our role in this deeply meaningful work. Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Krellstein and his entire staff who's here. The work that takes place in this hospital is difficult and it's hard. It's some of the most challenging that we have in the county, and they do it with a real commitment every day. I also want to thank Dr. Krellstein because we filled up his conference room here a number of times with a number of folks saying, what else can we do? How might we do it? And when you're introducing something that is completely new into an existing thing, it takes a great flexibility and a great willingness to think differently on the part of the folks who are the leadership here. And Dr. Krellstein and his staff have been wonderful in figuring out how might we find a better way to achieve this. And so I'm grateful for all of them. Our last speaker today is an organization that I am very fond of that does incredible work. The National Alliance of Mental Illness is a cornerstone and a foundational pillar in our community in tackling these issues. They are led by Catherine Nicario, who is their fearless CEO, and we appreciate their partnership and their leadership and their work And we're thrilled to have them as partners in this endeavor, in this organization. We're so grateful that they could be here. So please welcome Catherine.
Well, this is a truly great day for San Diego. This new model of providing services will advance an integration across other emergency and crisis care systems in our county. This linking of services is critical because too often we see fragmented healthcare delivery systems that prevent doctors and caregivers from providing treatment efficiently and patients receiving the most appropriate care throughout their experience. The Namian County Next Steps program has been around for about 7 years. Over any 2-year period, we serve more than 5,860 clients. We make more than 3,700 connections, plus connections with family, friends, and other caregivers. They are truly the hardest workers with the most compassion to have this program be successful. Attaching this ACT program to our Next Steps is truly what it does. It provides the next steps to hope and recovery for our clients for where they are and walking their journey together to ensure their success. Thank you.
So again, with that, we're excited to announce this program. We're excited to be on the cusp of it launching, and we think that it can play a critical role in helping these individuals and helping tackle the homeless and unsheltered population. So with that, we'd be happy to take any questions if there are any. Paul?
You know, housing folks on the back end is important. Can you house everybody that you don't?
We think we can. You want to tackle that?
So one of the things that we'll be doing is connecting people to another really significant initiative that the Department of Behavioral Health Services and the county generally have been involved in, and that's the Drug Medi-Cal Organized Delivery System. Supervisor Fletcher earlier mentioned ASAM, the American Society of Addiction Medicine, assessment and level of care determination guide. A lot of folks who will come in here with substance use disorder would be recommended for residential treatment. Because of the DMC, because of the Drug Medi-Cal Organized Delivery System, there is capacity within that system, but it's challenging to access. And so this will really help us make best use, make optimal use of resources that are part of the DMC ODS. That will be a significant, I think, destination, residential substance use disorder treatment, and it will help people get on the road to more permanent housing.
Well, residential services don't last forever, right? What about happen in 2 weeks or 2 months that they're in residential treatment?
So what the kind of trajectory in care that we would hope to see is from residential treatment, direct connection into outpatient care. And another element of the Drug Medi-Cal Organized Delivery System that this will be leveraging will be the connection between outpatient care and recovery residential support. That's a component of the DMC system that we're working right now to continue to build up. So a large number of our outpatient treatment providers have designated recovery residential supports connected to them. So that would be, I think, a really useful resource for folks who would enter the system through this avenue. The key point to keep in mind is that substance use disorder is probably the most challenging chronic illness to engage folks in care for. Once you get people invested in care, once you have them engaged in care, keeping them in a good trajectory becomes much more possible. The challenge is that it's so difficult to make that initial engagement. And this will be a program that will be a huge step forward in that effort.
Well, I would just add to that. What Dr. Bergman said there is that the Behavioral Health Impact Fund that Supervisor Cox and I are working on would be a potentially $25 million initial investment that could be provided to individuals who can bring online new residential drug treatment facilities, and it's designed to move swiftly. We have a lot of individuals who, through Drug Medi-Cal, have a reimbursement method to provide ongoing services, but that reimbursement method does not help them buy a building, expand a building, renovate a building to provide new beds. And so we're looking to work on an agreement with the city where we would have a $25 million fund that could go to folks who said, I could add the second floor, I could buy this motel, I could acquire this facility, and we think that there's some potential there to increase our capacity of residential treatment facilities, and so we think that this can go together in partnership with that. The other thing is you're seeing a bigger focus from the state. You saw the governor, who is now talking about housing being a health issue, and so we're looking at a number of things throughout a number of the initiatives happening at the state to do that, and we're continuing to push for more permanent supportive housing. Not all of these individuals may qualify for that, but for individuals who need that, we have to work to get more of those online. And then the last point I would make is that a lot of these individuals have a place and a home that, if they are in a stable situation, where they could live. A lot of them have family members that would be willing to take them in. They have friends that would be willing to take them in. But we have to get them in a stable state of mind and a stable framework and have an ongoing treatment program that is working for them. And a lot of them became homeless out of a housing situation due to a lot of the challenges they have. And so we think that each of those things moving together. But look, there is a root challenge of clearly a shortage of housing. And so we're working to do everything we can in the interim with shelter and with transitional housing and all of those types of things. And we have to continue all of those efforts to be complementary to this.
Anyone else?
No. All right, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it.